Hi everyone, what you see bubbling in front of you is a batch of risotto, but it's dessert risotto. Now, I don't like rice pudding, and it could just be a naming thing, but I love risotto, so I thought I would try making dessert chocolate risotto. So you start out with a tablespoon of butter, unsalted, arborio rice. I'm using, I think, about a cup and a half, a little shy of 2 cups actually. Then I have, so what I did is I sauteed the rice in the butter, then added 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, a split vanilla bean, that's what you see in there, right there. I scraped out all the vanilla seeds, so you see the little specks in there. Then as the rice got toasted, not burnt, didn't change the color, just toasted, and just as the brown sugar started to melt, I started adding whole milk. And it has to be whole milk. Skim milk doesn't work. It tastes too much like water. Sorry. So this is not a diet dessert by any means, and it takes exactly the same amount of time as regular risotto, so 18 minutes. And you cannot walk away. You have to keep adding the liquid as it evaporates, and you have to keep stirring. In particular, especially since there's sugar in here. Oh, and you do have to add a little pinch of salt, tiny little bit of salt, because it makes everything, all the other flavors stand out in sweets. So chocolate's not added until the very end, once the arborio rice is cooked completely. And I keep checking it every few minutes because I don't want it to get overcooked and gummy. So as you can see, it's bubbling away, and best thing to use is a flat, wide pan with a heavy bottom so it doesn't burn. See, I'm using, it's not nonstick, it's stainless, and nothing is sticking because, one, I'm constantly stirring, and as it starts to stick, in other words, as the liquid starts to evaporate, I just add more milk. So this is at, I think, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, something like that. So I'm going to add more milk, give it another taste. This is the rice you don't want to have bite to. You don't want to be crunching the dessert. That's not the intent. So I'll be right back with the milk, a little more milk added. So as you see, the bubbling has slowed down a little because I just added some cold milk. And I suppose you could heat the milk up the same way you do stock when you're making regular risotto or savory risotto rather than dessert risotto. But honestly, I'm doing this during a little break from work, so I don't have a lot of time, and I didn't think ahead. I just stepped out into the kitchen to make this, and then I'm gonna go right back to work. But it smells really, really good. These are Tahitian vanilla beans. I have a stash that I've been keeping in the refrigerator to make them so they don't go rancid. And once I'm done cooking it, I will pull the stalks, the beans out. If I was not using milk, I would try to save them for another dessert, another dish, but because they have dairy on them, they're gonna have to get tossed. Sometimes if I only use the inside, you know, scrape it with the back of your little paring knife, just for the little, you know, the specks that you see, little vanilla specks. I put the exterior, the shells, which still have a lot of flavor, into plain cane sugar, and it turns into vanilla sugar. It's really quite yummy. And actually, that vanilla sugar is perfect to use on top of creme brulees because it already has so much flavor. So as you can see, the more liquid is evaporating off as it's cooking, and I'm constantly stirring because I don't want this to stick for a couple of reasons. One, it could turn yucky and bitter, and if it burns, because there's sugar and dairy, and two, because I really hate cleaning stuck-on pots. So So Scrubby doesn't know I'm making this, and actually I can only leave him a little bit. The rest has to go to the Victorian high tea meeting with me at 7 o'clock tonight. So, and this is served warm, so the chocolate is added once it's off the heat. And then I'm debating whether I have enough enthusiasm or the time to make cool whipped cream to put on top. So you can tell the bubbling starts to get more vigorous as the liquid is evaporating off. Sorry about that, I ran out of memory again on my camera. I'm using my older 60-minute flip. So what I've done in the meantime, I added more milk. I've pulled out the beans, the vanilla beans, and actually I thought about it, you could reuse those, but in maybe a little bit of cream that you want to have in your coffee in the mornings, because it'll just add a nice vanilla flavor. I hate throwing things out, especially if there's still other uses for them, but really that might be the only thing, because you know, it was already in dairy. You wouldn't want to dry it off and put it in something else. So, and the last taste test I had, there's no more of that powdery, crunchy rice texture left. It's getting pretty darn close. I think I have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to try it again once this bit of milk evaporates or cooks off, and then it might be time to add the chocolate. And I'm going to use both bittersweet and semi-sweet, because I have a couple of tablespoons of sugar. I don't really need to use milk, and I think this might be a sophisticated enough dish that could carry off a darker chocolate rather than milk chocolate, and I don't like milk chocolate. Sorry, I know I'm making this for someone else, but I really don't like milk chocolate. That's one thing my husband and I really vary on, or disagree on. I love dark chocolate, and that could be because I grew up in Europe, and milk chocolate is not as prevalent, at least it wasn't when I was a kid. It was really more bittersweet and semi-sweet and dark chocolate, so that's kind of the palette that I grew up with, and my my sense of taste is based on that. And when I tasted milk chocolate and when we came to the States, I really wasn't that big a fan of it. So for some reason, I guess to me it seems like milk chocolate is a skimpier version of chocolate. I don't know if that makes any sense, like it's watered down or milk down. It doesn't always make sense, but this is all obviously personal preference and taste. So this is nearly the consistency that I want to start adding the chocolate in. I don't want to add the chocolate while on the heat, because I don't want it to scorch, and chocolate can scorch very quickly over live heat. So as soon as enough is evaporated, I'm going to off the heat, turn it off, and off the heat add the chocolate, and I'll be right back to show you the chocolate dessert risotto. Okay, the chocolate's been added, and let me tell you, it might be dangerous. I might be burning my tongue any minute now. So as you can see, it still has the kind of porridgey consistency of risotto. You could still see the rice. It's not clumpy, the individual rice. And the chocolate is all melted. Oh, I'm going to move this off, even though it's off. And it smells so good. Okay. I know. I need to do a taste test. Hold on, let me grab my tasting spoon. I'm not tasting off of that big server spoon. Oh, look at that. Hold on. I'll taste it and tell you exactly what it tastes like. Chocolate goodness. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so stinking good. Alright. Next time you're stumped for a dessert, and this is served warm, it could be room temperature warm, I'm sure it'll taste delicious cold too. Although it may seize up just a little bit, just like risotto does. Oh my god. Yeah, you need to try it. 5 ingredients: arborio rice, butter, milk, a couple of tablespoons of sugar, vanilla, and chocolate. Wait, is that 6? Sorry, lost track. Gotta go get some chocolate. Thanks for watching, everyone. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.